Testing. Hello. I can't tell if I'm live. I can never tell. I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. I think I'm live. It says I'm live. I always forget. It tells me when I'm live. Um, Hi, everyone. Hello. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me if you're here right now. And if you are someone who's watching this later, that's totally fine too. I wanted to come on and do a video. I haven't done one of, I feel like I haven't been doing these as often, and I want to try to get back into it because I know we have a lot of new people that have joined our community, and you're always welcome to go watch past videos, see if they're helpful. Um, but yeah, today's is one that's very near and dear to my heart. Today's topic that I want to go over is creativity and healing when you're grieving. And before I get into it, I just want to acknowledge the fact that, with grief, everyone is on their own timelines. And a lot of you who are newer, something like this, you just might not be ready to think about. You're probably still in shock and the grief is still very raw, and that's okay. You always, take this information in stride. If it works for you, great. If not, you can leave it. You can watch it later. But I'm just feeling this new burst of creativity, especially in my community, the Furever Forest, and I wanted to just talk more about how it really does help us when we're struggling with anything, but also especially when we're grieving. And yes, that does include the grief or the loss of a pet. So I thought I would share my own experience with creativity and art and how has helped me throughout my life, but especially during this time after I lost my soulmate pet Squiggles. So I figured I would just start at the beginning, and then I'm also going to share some things that you can do to help honor your pet by using creativity and art, and why it can be so helpful. I do feel like talking about things. I'm a therapist. Oh yeah, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Paige Reckman. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm the founder of this group, and I have a pet loss community called the Furever Forest that anyone who's looking for extra support is more than welcome to join. So yeah, I just want to make sure. Okay, yeah, I'm live in the group. By the way, I hope people can hear me. If anyone happens to come across this, just let me know if you can hear me, because otherwise I'm just going to be, there'll be a big technical error. So yeah, I just want to share a background of my own story with creativity. So when I was growing up, I think I was always a very creative child. And then once I went to high school, I think, in high school, it's such a hard time for our confidence and our self-esteem, and I didn't feel like I was good at anything. And so actually probably started in middle school and high school. And so I think I lost a little bit of my creative side. And then when I went to college, I had a roommate who started knitting. And I decided that I wanted to join her. And so I bought knitting needles, I bought the yarn, and I learned how to knit. It took some time. I remember the first scarf that I knitted was absolutely horrendous, but I was able to do it. And it was my first real lesson as an adult on how helpful using your hands to make something, to create art, to do something tangible, how helpful it can be um, for your mental health. I was really struggling in college. I did not like it at all, and so I think knitting was like a core part of my self-care when I was in college. 1 second, I just have to clean off my glasses quickly. Um, so it started with knitting, and then I did some dance, and I realized that, I wanted to go into the field of creativity, use holistic methods for healing. I decided to do a program at the University of Florida for mental health counseling because I figured it would be um, really applicable in the world to have a general mental health degree. And also, I chose the University of Florida because they had a course called Creativity and Spirituality in Healthcare. And I got to take this course. It was wonderful, totally changed my life. Every single week, we would have a different creative task or something to do. And it just really opened up my mind to the idea that everyone is an artist. It doesn't matter if you have training, it doesn't matter if you think you're good at it or you're not. We all as humans have the capability to create. It's in our nature. And so that's what I learned in that class. And so that has stuck with me. And you know, getting into my adult life, I work, it's hard to find time to do anything creative, but I do try to incorporate it into my day to day. And I'm so glad that I did, because after Squiggles passed away, I think having creative outlets is really what got me through more than anything else. I'm a pretty private griever, even though I have this whole community where people can express themselves and say how they feel. I personally, I don't want to say I struggle with that, but it's hard. It's really hard for me. And so after she passed away, which the first few weeks I couldn't do anything. I could barely even get out of bed. But the one thing that did get me out of bed, and this is kind of something people might not think is creative, but it very much is my garden. So I had started a garden just a few months before Squiggles passed away, and it was the first time I had ever started gardening, and I realized that after she died, about a week later, flowers started blooming. I got my first real flowers. And so just knowing that there were flowers out on my balcony that needed to be watered, it's what got me out of bed. So it saved me in that way. Another thing is that I take guitar lessons. And again, the first few weeks after she died, I couldn't do my guitar lessons. I was a mess. I couldn't do it. But a few weeks later, I picked it back up again, and I have been playing consistently. And it's, for me, that type of creative act, it's like a way for me to just escape the world for an hour. I love practicing with my instructor, and I love practicing throughout the week even when he's not there. It's very meditative, and it's just a way to connect with myself and also my emotions, and let them go when I need to. So the guitar, the gardening. Another thing that I have done throughout my grief process after losing Squiggles that was a pretty big endeavor, but has helped me so much, is I wrote a book. I wrote a poem about Squiggles before she passed away, and I decided to illustrate the book myself. And I have my iPad here so I can show you. The photo that's in our community on the banner is also one that I did, and it's kind of like this, but I don't know if you can see it. But yeah, there's this creating the images for this book has been really, really helpful for me on my grief journey. And then, just having this community in place too, and building the Furever Forest, it's another way that I've been able to access the creative side of myself, put something out there in the world that's helping other people. And I think people forget how powerful art and a creative act can be. And of course, when you're doing it yourself, it takes it to another level. But even looking at art or reading a poem, something that you didn't necessarily create but touches your heart, it's a way that we can stay connected to each other and express how we're feeling and understand others without having to say words, which I think is really, really cool. So I would love to hear from all of you, if anyone's here live or later on. What are some ways that you have used art or creativity to help you honor your pet? I have a few ideas, a few things that I thought about. I think so many of us, after our pets die, after some time, we're able to create a like an altar for them. That is an act of creation. You're putting things together, you're using your hands, you're making it beautiful. That, in my opinion, is a creative way to start to heal and to process your grief. A lot of people like to write letters to their pets. That is something I decided to write a blog post. I didn't necessarily write a letter to Squiggles, but writing that blog post, which I can link to below, was another wonderful way for me to just, yes, I'm using words, but it was a different form of expression. I was able to think it through and type things out. That was another way that art and creativity helped me personally. You can make something symbolic with it for your pet, like a painting, a craft. In our community, we do a lot of different crafts. Some people have shared some really wonderful necklaces that they've created that have the ashes of their pets in them, which is wonderful. Someone from our community just recently posted that they wrote a song for their pet, and It's linked. He posted it down below, but I remember when he joined and his cat Sasha passed away, and I think it's so amazing that I guess around 6 months later that now there's something out there in the world that was inspired by this devastating loss. Of course, it doesn't take the pain away, it doesn't make it better. It's probably not even worth it, right? None of us want to go through this loss just to create art. Um, but it is a way that you can make meaning out of the experience, and I hope that it was, you know, pretty part of the healing journey for him. Um, Even something as simple as like taking the time to light a candle, that is an act of creation. You are creating a beautiful space to honor your pet. And so, even if you've done something like that, I would argue that you're making art in the world to connect yourself to your emotions and help you heal. Something else that I did, and of course I want to mention here because we have a workshop coming up, is I made this memory lantern of squiggles. I don't know if you can see it with the glare. Let me turn this off for a moment. I lit it for this, but there's a little electric candle in here, and we did this in the community and just wrote down memories of our pets during the holidays and took, you know, some time to reflect on that, put them in the jar, shared with each other what we wrote, and I know it was not easy to do, but it felt really powerful and very special, especially to be able to share with other people. So, if this is something that you're interested in doing, if you feel drawn to creativity as part of your healing journey, I invite you to join us this upcoming Saturday. I'm doing a separate workshop because this one was so powerful. I wanted to offer it up again. And I feel so bad. All of my promotions are so last minute, and I'm hoping to get better at that. But for anyone who's interested in joining, if you've been missing your pet this season, if you want to do something a little extra to just care for yourself and connect to the love that you have for them, I invite you to join us. Okay, I think that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'll be in the community in the Facebook group, so feel free to keep posting, and I hope that if you're watching this that you have and even if you're not watching this, I just want to send light and love to everyone in our group. Okay, I'll see you all soon.